welcome to the Group X podcast. It's good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you too.
Hey, let's kick it off right from the word go. Can you give us a bit of a rundown on you, who you are, and how you got into the fitness industry?
Sure thing. Well, my background's actually been in dancing all of my life. And I was lucky enough to have dancing take me to the other side of the world. And I danced at the Moulin Rouge in Paris for
Oh,
around,
wow.
yeah, for 8 years. So, yeah, my sights were set on dance the whole time. I used to teach dancing as well. Everything was about dance. And then I lived in Paris and was kicking my legs over there. But for any dancer, the career is quite short and it comes to an end. And I kind of had that moment of being a bit lost of where to go next. And at that particular time, I was having a bit of the dance industry has a lot of pressure on it. So I was finding for mental health wise, it was like a difficult industry for me to be in. Like it really was a challenge.
Yep.
So I was a bit lost after dancing, not sure where to go, but the where I found my greatest happiness and where I felt my best was when I did a group fitness class at the gym.
Love
And
it.
so I had a lot going on, but always whenever I went to class, I would just, all of that would disappear and I'd feel the best that I felt in my day in that 55-minute class with great music and great instructor and all that kind of thing. And one day I happened to be at the gym and an Italian girl approached me and she's like, "Oh, you're going to do the instructor course, aren't you?" And I was like, "Me? French?" Like, I don't think I can. But anyway, there turns out that there's these great opportunities to study in France for it to be economical, so the government will support study. And I
Wow.
ended up finding my way into doing a full-blown fitness diploma in French, which took me 13 months. It was a very in-depth course.
Jesus.
Yeah, from day one, I was teaching freestyle fitness in French with a very intermediate level of French.
Wow. That's
But
awesome to hear.
but as soon as I started that course, like I knew that I'd found my thing as well.
Yep.
Like I had so much joy and love in giving back in that group fitness place. And although I trained to do personal training as well, I just always felt my heart was with the group fitness and the
Yeah.
relationship with music, especially having the background in dancing. And the gym that I was working with and doing my traineeship with and continuing to work with uh, were trying to be the most innovative in France at the time. And they actually went to the United States looking for a program that no one else had, something completely
Yep.
different. And they trialed and tested a lot of different things in the US, and they came back with Pound.
Wow.
At the time, I had begun teaching Les Mills as well as freestyle classes, and I pretty much got told that, "Di, you're going to be teaching Pound." And I was like, "Excuse me? What? I'm going to
Say
be
what now?
teaching what?" And I think I watched a few YouTube videos because, like, there wasn't so much outreach on social media at that time. And
Yep.
I was a little bit puzzled, to be honest. I was like, this program's about drumming and fitness, and I don't know about it. Like, typical me, that's sort of a little bit skeptical to begin with, like, I'm not sure. But hey, I
Yep.
got put into the training, and there is a saying that goes with Pound of it was love at first strike. And that's
Yep.
literally what it was. As soon as I started hitting the sticks together, all of a sudden I was in love with this program. And that was the first time it appeared in Europe, was that
Yep.
training I did. It escalated quite quickly and grew quite quickly. So I auditioned to be a trainer and presenter for the program and was successful. That was about 9 years ago now, 8 or 9 years ago.
Congratulations. Yep.
Thank you. And then I moved back to Australia 7 or so years ago with a mission to be making noise in the land down under. And
Excellent.
I
Excellent.
can.
I love hearing that.
Yeah. And so I'm constantly trying to share Pound with the communities out there and training new instructors. So I'm still trainer and presenter for Pound,
Yep.
and I'm a group fitness manager at Good Life Health Club as well,
Cool.
and
Yep.
teaching yoga and body jam,
Brilliant.
mills, Pound, reformer Pilates, lots of cool different
So,
things.
so how long have you been, would you say you've been in the fitness industry for then? Can you give us a time frame of years?
Uh, Officially, like from when I did my diploma, it's 10 years.
Okay. Yep.
But I did start teaching Zumba a couple of years before that. So
For that. Yep.
count that like 12 years.
Yep. Mate, that's
I did
I
that.
love hearing that. And
Yeah.
everyone's got a backstory, and everyone's backstory is unique on how they get into the industry. And to me, I've had some people say to me, "Oh, Tone, cutting it out of your podcast." I'm like, you know what? No, because it's about people. It's about us in the industry, and it's about, everyone has their journey and their experience on how they got into it and how they fell in love with what we do. I love hearing those stories, and I especially love the fact that you back in Moulin Rouge. Now, that to me blows my mind. I think that is fan bloody tastic because the dedication there is for something like that far exceeds anything I think my brain has ever gone into. So, while I don't mean it to sound like a sarcastic thing when I say it, I think it's fantastic because the dedication that you went through, the understanding you've got to have for something that's on that scale, shows respect for you, for yourself, for everything that you do. So, thank you for doing that. So then jumping into the fitness industry and bringing that across with you, because that's huge. Yeah. Can
Yeah.
you can you share, if you don't mind, can you share a little bit of experiences about when you were doing that? Give us an example, if you can, of one of the best nights you had up on stage with Moulin Rouge.
Uh, like every night on stage was the best night. Like I I always chose dancing over everything in my life. When I was younger, over anything, over school, over
Yep.
hanging out with my friends.
Yep.
Even when I was younger, I had to make choices. Am I going to do athletics or dancing? And dancing just always came first,
Yeah.
because it just connected with my heart and my soul so much. I didn't even have to think about why I loved it. I just did. And it
Yep.
is like that for lots of dancers. And being in the Moulin Rouge, like the show is very prestigious. Like the costumes we wear are extravagant and absolutely stunning. And we dance the can, which is like it's the most famous dance in the world. So
Yep.
it's like you're really a part of something historical when you're dancing in the Moulin Rouge. And every night on stage is like, you probably heard of the performer's high. So you get on
Yep.
stage and the crowd is there and the lights are shining and it's kind of a euphoric feeling to perform.
Yeah. Yep.
But in saying that, it's also has the other side of it. So for me personally, while it was very a dream life on the stage, off stage, I allowed there to be a lot of pressure on me. And yeah, I
Yep.
didn't do too well with my mental health. But that part of my story is so important for what I do now. Like
Yeah.
it
Yep.
really drives me with a great deal of purpose in teaching, and especially with a program like Pound,
Yep.
which has such emphasis on what goes on in the mind as well as the body. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for opening up and sharing that with us and with the audience. It can be sometimes a very big thing to actually open up about, but I can see it in your eyes and see it, hear it in your voice when you're talking about it, that it's made an impact on you, but it's also, it sounds like a good thing that's led you to where you are now, to actually understand it and be able to share
Yeah,
your
I'm grateful
experience and
for
skills.
the experience I had. I wouldn't change a thing, the good
Yeah.
and the bad of it,
Yep.
because yeah, it has great meaning for what I do now.
This is the Group X podcast.
Now, talk to us about learning a fitness diploma. Was it diploma degree?
Diploma.
Diploma in a foreign language, in a language that's not your first language. Now, there's challenges there straight away of hello, what now?
Yeah, I was at a point in my life where if I, it was either I was successful in doing this course, or I had to move back to Australia and I wouldn't know what to do with my life, with no direction. But the way it works in France is a bit different to here. So if you want to study fitness in France, you have to pass fitness examinations, which are put on by the state or by France, by the country. It's a little bit like trying to get into the army. So, like, not kidding, like we had 3 days of fitness testing, lifting heavy weights, and also doing group fitness classes, instructing,
That's
all
awesome.
different points. And it's like if you fail any part, you're out and you'll have to try
Yeah.
again next year. So everyone who's there is very, very passionate about fitness for themselves as well as teaching it. It's high pressure.
Gosh, yeah.
But I managed to get through all the fitness tests, and
Awesome.
yeah, and then it was 13 months, not allowed to teach anything choreographed, only freestyle, and you teach from your first day. So I did 20 hours of study a week and 15 hours working in the gym with group fitness, personal training, and just general gym floor.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it was really hard because everyone was French that I worked with. Even though they spoke English, it had been made clear, do not speak English to Diane. Like,
Oh, wow.
help me with my French, because my French was,
Yeah.
I could understand a lot, but for speaking it was pretty so-so. And when I taught my first classes, I'd have to make a script in French of how to teach what the muscles were and how to say squeeze them and things like that.
Yeah.
But the first 4 months, I physically had headaches. I was like, I'm never going to study again. Like, it was so hard. And then it's literally like something went like that. And I didn't even notice. A colleague said to me, Di, your French has gotten really good. And I was like,
Yep.
hang on a sec. Yeah, it has. And it just became easy to speak French out of nowhere. And the funny thing is, when I came back to Australia, I found it difficult to teach. I auditioned to teach body pump in a gym, and I found it difficult to teach in English. Like,
No way.
what is it? I kept slipping into French.
Into French. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
I learned
completely transformed your brain.
I learned all my fitness in French. All my Les Mills trainings in French, pound training, everything in French.
Oh, wow. So instead of, I love that. Our brains can actually just switch at one point and just, as you said, just go, yeah, look, I can do this now. This is easy.
Yeah,
But then I think that's great though, that coming back, that it took a bit to actually turn the Aussie back on and turn the French on.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, but that's fantastic. Those stories are, as I said before, unique, but also when you look at them, they're challenges. It's not an easy thing to learn a complete different language, but also then go and do a diploma in a different language as well. But the thing that I do love about different countries, that the government, as you said, so these are the prerequisites you actually have to do before getting into fitness. I'd love for Australia, now there'd probably be people out there that are going to hate me for saying this, but I think that something like that should be implemented here, because I don't believe that the level of Cert 3 and level of Cert 4 are high enough. That's just me. I'm not saying that everyone needs to agree with me, but I think that having something like that here, where you've actually got to make sure that it is a level and a standard that is so high, I think it's only got to improve what's going on. It can only improve. It can't make anything worse.
Yeah,
what it
well, it
currently
was
is.
amazing to study with, like, we were 3 groups of 20, all in this one institute, and to be studying alongside people who were so passionate and wanted it so bad and were trying to better themselves all the time. Like, we would have training sessions together, like if we were doing our personal training classes and learning methods of training, we would be in the gym, like doing mini competitions, and it was very motivating the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also do both. Like, it's very normal in France. even if you want to be a PT, to follow the road of group fitness as well. So
Yep.
it's nice to have that broad spectrum.
That's something that I've been talking to a lot of people about more and more recently with regards to how PTs can actually get into Group X and how Group X guys can get into PT. I mean, when I first started back in 2002, 2003, I'd been teaching classes, but then decided to do PT as well. And majority of my clients that I picked up from PT were from my classes. So to me, it was fitness first back then, and I was getting triple packs, and you're converting all them and doing all that kind of stuff as you did back in those days. I still managed to get most of my clientele from either my pump class or my boxing class or my RPM or cycle classes, because they were just there in front of you. Oh, Tone, are you doing PT? Yes, I am. Oh, cool. Can we do some sessions? Yeah, fantastic. I'd always say to the PTs, guys, you need to get in and start teaching classes, because if you're standing there on the gym floor expecting someone to walk up to you just because you're a PT, you know what? It's probably not going to work. But if you are in front of a group of people, you're in front of 10, 15, 20, 30 people, however many people it can be, and you're explaining stuff to them and they're connecting with you, you can actually pick up clients quite easily.
Yeah,
It's the easiest place to find. It's your biggest fishing pool right there in front of you. So and I think that's what I still think there is here in Australia is there's a big divide between PT and Group X. It's almost, some of the PTs are threatened to actually put their clients into a group exercise class thinking that, oh, well, if they go there, they're not going to come and see me.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that. I think it's an added, you know what, if you're a PT, you're a good PT, they're going to come and see you one, maybe 2 times a week, depending on what you're charging and how much, disposable income they actually have. But if you're just prescribing a program for them, but also prescribing group exercise classes,
yeah,
that client's going to get more out of it and see benefit in coming to see you because your expertise in what you're actually prescribing them with a whole lot. So
I feel like that's
I think,
why I was brought up in fitness, for it to be
Yep.
that way, because that's what was happening overseas for me. So when I came back here and I felt the separation, I was really like, whoa, this is a whole new experience.
Yep.
I mean, the whole time I've been here, at various times, I do get people ask me, do you PT?
Yep.
I'm like, no.
Are you doing PT at the moment?
Pardon?
Are you doing any PT at the moment?
No, I didn't. I've really followed the group fitness road, but it's more me to, I feel like I work well with groups of people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
sometimes I've done some programs which have been more small group training, and I really enjoy that.
Yep.
Yeah, but not the one-on-one hasn't been my business venture.
Yep. Now, you mentioned earlier as well that you're actually doing, was Group X manager at Good Life?
Yes, Good Life.
Yep. How long have you been there for?
In this particular club, just over 2 years.
Okay.
And how do you? I was in another one as a manager, but teaching. I've been teaching there for since I got back from France, so it's over 7 years now.
Yep. For the Group X manager role itself, are there, if I can ask you this, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, what do you enjoy most about the Group X manager role?
There's a few things. Like, I love working with people, but I like for people to realize their potential. And I mean that not just as an instructor to be in front of my group of members that they've got to realize their potential, but also my instructor team. So if I can find ways to kind of keep them really excited or motivated, I'm always trying to think of new ideas of what events we can run or how we can get a bit more innovative and different, because I do think innovation is important for keeping that inspired spirit alive.
Totally.
But yeah, I look to my team and I guess see, okay, how can I make it better for them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, what is it that you don't like about Group X management? I've put it on the spot here, people. So, Tony, can we mute this one out? Can we do it again? No, and the reason I ask it is that I think in any job that we do, any role that we have within the fitness industry, there are going to be things that we love and the things that we won't say hate, but things that we find a challenge and things that we're like, you know what, it bugs me. If this could be changed, then it'd be a hell of a lot better. Do you come across anything like that? And there can be nothing. If there is nothing, that's
I mean, those things exist, of course, when you work in a big company because, I always have ideas, but I can't always put my ideas into play because, you have to kind of go with what the company wants. So those kind of things are where I've got to find a balance of like, okay, well, how can I do something that will work?
Yep. Look,
But otherwise, like administration work, I mean, it's not my favorite, but
yep.
I don't find it too challenging, so I don't mind doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, look, I appreciate that. To me, the group exercise manager's role is probably one of the most underrated, misunderstood roles that I think our industry has. I think if group exercise managers are given the tools to do their job properly and given the time, the expertise, the knowledge, everything to do it properly, I think group exercise as a whole would actually improve. And that's not to say that group exercise managers out there are dumb and don't have these skills. There's a lot of them that don't, from my experience and from my travels around Australia, meeting clubs and chatting to clubs with Les Mills and also now with body bike stuff. I think that a lot of Group X managers are in the roles that they're in because they are the best instructor on a timetable. And I'm not saying this is everybody. Yeah, this is just predominantly where it's come from historically. Oh, you're the best instructor. Yeah, you jump in there and you can do it. And while that's great, and that instructor has got a lot of skills that they can use, as we know, finding class covers, updating a timetable, doing the pays should be things that are done almost back end. Stuff that's done in a system that you shouldn't have to worry about as a Group X manager. I like the fact that you mentioned that you want to do stuff for thinking of ways to do stuff with your team to grow them as individuals, to work with them to grow them as individuals, but also for your members as well so they can find themselves. I think that's key for Group X managers to understand there's more to your job than counting
I
numbers.
think it's one of the most important parts of the role is being involved with the community that's in front of you, in the instructors as well as the gym members, and creating the culture, like this strong community, because I like to know who they all are. So like my office is right near like where the group classes are, and when I can hear the hustle bustle of the class ending, I'll just pop out of my office and stand there. I'm like, who can I say hello to today? It's like when they're feeling more connection with even management and the members, and as well as the instructors. I know when I was just an instructor, I never saw my group fitness manager ever. They were an enigma. I just came for my class and I left. So it's, I don't know, when you create that family feeling, the whole culture in the club changes.
100%.
Yeah, but that comes down to the person and whether they like have the drive and the want to do that, I guess. But I do personally.
Yeah. No, and that's really nice to hear, and I think you've nailed what I was trying to get there as well. That if it's led properly from the Group X manager, it filters through.
Yeah.
Yep. The fact that you get up and get out there, I know there's a hell of a lot of Group X managers and like, I'm not doing that. Well, I used to stand at reception and swipe people in. Have a whole lot of fun. Get to know these people and say to them, if I saw them walking to the gym floor, hey, what are you doing? No. Group X is down this way. And just be cheeky about it. But to me, it was the way of actually, everyone in that club knew who I was. Oh, it's Tone. Yeah, right. Yeah. But it worked, because then if there was ever a new person that came in to group exercise or were asking questions, go and have a chat to Tone. He knows what's going on. It's what I needed to do to make sure that department, that team was actually working to its best, but also the instructors that were there as well. While the team was built well before I came on board from some experts in the industry, I managed to actually still nurture them with my skill set that I had to make sure that they were doing the best they could for our members and getting group exercise to be on point. Because if it's not, it's not,
Yeah.
it's,
And if they see you there as the manager and you're poking your eye and having a look and waving, they feel supported. I think they do. I hope they do.
no, it's true. Yeah.
So then they get excited to come and teach at this place where they're supported and it feels like a family.
Yes.
And And then
Yep.
their classes are going to be even better, and the member experience is even better. It all, like you said, it's this ripple effect that trickles down,
Yeah.
and everyone's just having a good time.
This is the Group X podcast.
So it leads me to how did you get into Pound? You touched on a little bit at the beginning when we were chatting about it, but give us a bit more understanding on how that opportunity came up, and then I'm going to ask you about what is Pound. So start with how the opportunity came up for you first, if you can.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I was already graduated, had my diploma, and working full time in group fitness in Paris, in France, and in the largest gym chain over there. And yeah, they went seeking this a program that no one else had, and they came back with Pound. And the talk immediately was, well, Di will teach it because she's a dancer. And I have to say, in this moment right now, Pound is not a dance program.
Yep.
Conception. But because of the relationship with music, it's viewed as being good for dancers. The particular gym they wanted to put it in was one of their more fancy ones, and group fitness wasn't the strongest thing in that particular gym. It was gym floor, and the team that worked there was a lot of males and a lot of really strong, bulky guys.
Yep.
PTs and group instructors, and I was like, oh, well, what if I don't like Pound and I don't want to teach it? They were like,
Get one of the boys to.
they were like, can you seriously see the boys teaching it? And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And I did go with a bit of like, I really didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't like, I don't know, I didn't watch a lot of videos. I watched one and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll like this. Like, really questioning it. But straight away I was in training. I was in training with the creators of the program. They flew out from LA, and I kind of loved it because they're American and I'm Australian, and everyone else in the room was French. So I was like, oh, I feel like we've got a bit of a connection here.
Yep.
But yeah, when we did you start a training with a masterclass, and like when we kind of, I don't know, I see everyone's face in the class, like the eyes kind of go wide of like, what are we doing when we start eating the sticks together? And then it's just like, whew, you just relax and you're like, oh my God, this feels good. Like, so I had that moment of like it being love at first strike, and I was like, I really love it. When I first taught my first ever class, they actually invited some TV station.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I got interviewed. I don't know. I thought it was quite funny that they wanted to interview the Australian girl on French TV
Yeah.
with my French. Anyway, yeah, we had some of the upper management from the gym that watched the class, and one of the gentlemen, he came up to me at the end and he was like, Diane, it's like they created this program for you. And that was the moment that I went, oh, I was like, yeah, I feel really good. Like, it was like this whole light bulb moment of how good I felt when I'd been teaching it just then. And now after a moment, like all the endorphins have been running through my body, and I just felt light and free and happy. And I was like, yeah, I love this. And since then I haven't looked back, and the program has like, it's just been a life changer. The opportunities that have come my way through teaching Pound, and I see exactly the same thing happen for instructors that I've nurtured and trained, you know, developing a new career path, but also the level of confidence that comes out in people through this program is just amazing.
Right time, right place, right program.
Yeah, there are no mistakes in this life. It all happened as it was supposed to.
Yeah, so true.
And if I continue like the story of becoming a trainer, basically Pound started just in LA, and then this interest came from France and the UK.
Yep.
When that happened, it exploded in the USA, and they couldn't keep up with trainings, and so they were like, we can't fly out to Europe all the time, so we
Yep.
need to get some trainers in Europe. So I did the first ever trainer audition. Uh, it was in London, and that was
Yep.
another thing with. There's a French trainer named Florian, and we went together, but we were both like, do we go? Because it was last minute. The Eurostar tickets were like 400 euros, which is astronomical for Eurostar.
Yes.
And we
Yep.
were like, do we do it? Do we do it? And then we were like, oh, let's just go. And I'm just so grateful that we did. Yeah. So
Yep.
we did that. Audition was successful. I taught my first trainings in France and Italy, and then I moved home to Australia. Yeah.
Love it. So was Pound already here in Australia before you came, or did you bring it to Australia?
I thought it wasn't because there was no Pound in Queensland, that's for sure.
Yep. Yep.
But what I learned when I arrived home is that it had been in Crunch Fitness for
Okay.
quite a few years. So
Yep.
Kirsten Potenza, who is the current CEO, and she's the creator of Pound, she came out 10 years ago and trained up a bunch of instructors, and they had classes across most Crunch gyms, and they still do have Pound running in Crunch in Sydney
Yep.
and Melbourne. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's kind of the only place it was. So when I came
Yeah.
back to Queensland, I was like putting out there, come to Pound, and everyone's like, what?
What? Pardon me. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So tell us now, from a dummy that I am, explain to me what is Pound. What will I experience going to a Pound class?
Yeah, so Pound is a full body cardio jam session. It's a bit like not just a workout, it's a bit like a fitness rock concert. So we're working with both the body and the mind. The foundation of the movements really comes from Pilates and yoga. So the workout's quite grounded. It's low impact, unless you want to add in some plyometrics. And then layered on top of that, we have this constant simulated drumming, which has come with these specially designed exercises. That was me dropping one.
For those of you not watching.
Sticks called rip sticks. So I like
Okay.
to say they're sticks that get you ripped.
Yep. Yep.
But this active drumming puts this whole new element on the workout. So it's not just about your body, it incorporates the mind. The drumming has brain boosting effects, so it improves your brain function. But also the massive one that I think a lot of people really benefit from is the release for like stress and depression and hostility. It is literally like you go to a 45-minute Pound class and it's like you've just been to therapy for 45 minutes. Everyone is smiling at the end. I can go on, I can give you a lot of information about the drumming side of things. The effect of drumming on your brain is a little bit like meditation. So it's like it has that point of focus that kind of moves you away from your thoughts and your thinking. So you're training your brain to work differently. Yeah. So
I like this.
then
Give
I
us
should
as much information as you can about that, because when I say I don't know anything about Pound, all
Yeah.
I've seen is what, like the image that's behind you on the screen. For those of you not watching but just listening, there's a pull-up banner behind Diane here that's got a group of guys doing the actions. That's all I've seen, yeah, and I've seen what I saw at the fitness show just recently. So as much information as you can share with us, I think the listeners to understand really what the workout is. Please go on with the...
So I'll go like with the fitness side of things. So the movement, the base of the movements are very simple. We have only 4 positions that we work through. And if I put them out, basically it's like working in a wide squat, in a lunge, sitting down for core work and hip raises. Those are the kind of movements that we're working through. But then layered on top, we've got the drumming. And with the drumming, we work through the techniques are just patterns, but they kind of will shift your body weight and they'll increase your heart rate. So basically the workout is working on a cardiovascular level, but it's also strengthening the body. We do a lot of down up, a lot of squats. It's working flexibility, the range of motion, coordination, balance, pretty much everything. Full body.
So you're going to get your heart rate up, well and truly.
Yeah, but the magic of the program is that you don't notice how hard you are working out because of these magic ripsticks that we're drumming, following the beat, connecting with the music, connecting with the people that are around us. Like communal drumming is something that's been around for centuries, and it is known to bring about group happiness. So like people are feeling good in the class. We also use music that is popular, songs people know, a lot of rock music, pop music, things that have a great drum beat so that you can feel like you are the drummer in that band, just rocking out.
Yeah. Yep.
And then all these benefits that happen at the level of your mind are the most valuable because lasting change is always at the mind. The workout, the act of drumming is empowering, it's building confidence, it's releasing the stress, it's inducing more happiness, creating more self-worth. Like people really feel powerful. Like they can come into a class quite timid and quite, oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And then after a few tracks of like hitting the floor with the ripsticks, they're like, oh yeah, I'm a rock star. And that's what we're all about, is people bringing out their inner rock star of being free, of feeling themselves, and having a good time. All the fitness stuff is like this bonus that happens, a little bit extra. The other thing that is amazing about the program is that it is for everybody. So
that was what I was just about to ask you. Who is it designed for?
Yeah, it was created to be completely inclusive of everybody, every single body out there, any age, any stage. The movements that we do are very easy to modify and give options to, so that whoever you meet the people where they're at. Okay, so you give them options and modifications that they need, or they choose their own, and they can still feel like they're a part of the band. It's not like they're doing something totally different. It's quite simple to modify. But I've taught classes before that had a 4-year-old, and my mum at the time, she was like 74. So like you had the full range in there, and everyone was rocking out together and having a good time. Yeah.
I think that's so nice to hear that it's for everybody and it's not just a certain, demographic or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot of talk these days about, how do we get Gen Z involved? How do we look after the baby boomers still? To have a program that caters for everybody, I think is fantastic, because we need to do it. There's the people around our age, there's people that are a lot younger. But if it's inclusive for everybody and everyone can get in there together and there's no age barrier whatsoever, the young ones are cool to get in there and do it with the oldies, and the oldie ones are cool to get in there and do it with the young ones. I think that's key to any program.
Yeah, and anyone that's coming in, like they're coming in for their own different reasons. So I find a lot of the more senior people that try it, because this is the biggest barrier, is trying the class. Once people try it, they have a whole, that was really fun.
That light bulb moment.
Oh, that was actually fun. And then the next day they're like, oh, I'm really sore. But I find that the seniors are more like, they really appreciate and understand the benefit for their brain and for the brain function and working with memory. And there's a lot of science behind drumming and the effects on the brain. They've done studies on drummers. And I mean, in everyday life, when we're not really communicating, the right and left brain, like they're just hanging out with this big wall in between. As soon as we do Pound, it's like they've got to connect and communicate. So you fire neurons create new pathways, the brain health improves, things like decision making, problem solving, memory formation and retrieval begin to improve. Like the brain just works faster and better.
So for years growing up, I was mates with guys in a band, and they were always trying to tell me that the bass player was the dumb guy, and the drummer was the guy that was the most intelligent. Now, part of me was never believing it. It was just like, yeah, guys, whatever, you're just all talking rubbish there. But from what you've just said, potentially the drummer could have been the smartest one in the room there from using both sides of his brain, where the bass player was, just using one side.
Well, there you
I
go.
like hearing that though.
Science behind the bass player, but hey, maybe that's it.
But it makes sense though, what you're saying. It completely makes sense. It's you're putting all the skills together that you've got to do, plus with as you're saying, the drumming as well. You have to use both sides of your brain, don't you? It's not just the creative side. You're actually using the analytical side, the creative side, putting it all together to make sure that you're doing everything. And I can so see the benefits from what it is.
Yeah, and it's something that, like, I've taught a lot of different programs before, and when it comes to coordination, and people have a fear of being uncoordinated, it's one of the most, because I teach dance stuff and I teach Pound, one of the most common things I hear from participants is, oh, but I'm not coordinated.
Yep.
But if I can encourage them enough to come and try the class, this is the class where that will change, and it will change within just a few classes. Sometimes it happens in a few tracks. I've seen people trying to figure it out for like 3 songs, and then by the end of the class, they're like, I'm a rock star, like just going crazy. I love it. And for others, it takes a little bit longer, but it really doesn't take that long, because the techniques we use in Pound are quite simple. So it's a lot of patterns, just crossing over, using 2 arms, 1 arm. And when it's brand new, of course, it's a bit like, what's going on? But once you've done it a few times, you're like, oh yeah, I understand what's happening now. And it becomes easier to change. It becomes easier to move faster. So that's a lot of the constant drumming is like constantly working the core, like peripheral stabilization. So you're moving your arms with small weights, and the core has to engage to keep you on balance. So there is a big focus on core in Pound, but it's not like you really have to focus on it. You just do it and it happens. So this is all a strategic distraction with the ripsticks from the actual workout. Sometimes a class can have something like, I think the number is like 15,000 strikes of your arms. And you could be doing like 600, 700, 800 squats, depending on the choreography. Yeah. But we're never counting a rep, ever.
This is the Group X podcast.
On that's going to lead me to the next question. Are there different formats that you need to follow? Like, is there a 30-minute format, a 45, or an hour? How is that?
Pound Rock Out Workout is the original program, and it is straight up like Pound Rock Out class. We have format designs of 45 minutes, 30 minutes, or even a 15-minute demo. But 45 minutes is the most popular. It's that real sweet spot. The design of the class works a bit like HIIT training. It's got intervals. We're moving on the floor, standing up, but also peaks due to the techniques and movements we do. It's been very thought out, trial tested to find that perfect design of a class that has ebb and flow, both with the music and with the movement and your heart rate, the muscles that you're working. It's very balanced in the end.
So how many tracks would there be in a 45-minute class? Or does it vary?
I should know this off the top of my head, and I'm going to say I've got the number 13 in my head. I might have to look at a track list and double check. But
it's all right. It's all good. I suppose my question with that, and I suppose my thought process is it similar to, like, as an example, everyone knows a pump format where you've got, chest tracker, biceps, lunges, squats, all that kind of stuff. Is that the similar sort of format
Yeah, well,
for pound or?
we've got four positions, base positions that I mentioned that we
Yep.
like. So we'll be standing in our set position or our lunge position, seated at our kit position,
Yep.
which is named after the drum kit, of course,
Yep.
or
Yep.
laying on our back in the TNA position. So there's only four different positions. So the the flow of the class can be different depending on the instructor because we've got a few different
Okay.
ways of structuring it. But
Yep.
in general, it does have that flow that if you're coming regularly to class, you kind of know where you're moving
Know what's
next.
happening. Yeah.
You're
Yep.
going to do
Yep.
three standing tracks and then you're going to sit down and then you're going to come up for three standing tracks and then you're going to sit down, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Yep. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
That was where my brain was going. Was okay. If I rock up to this one class, is it completely freestyle and just, you know what? Let's just get out there and rock it about and have a whole
No.
lot of fun, or is there some format that you do follow
Yeah,
as a
and
as an
it's
instructor?
pre-choreographed. So the program's
Okay.
pre-choreographed. So
Yep.
you can go into different instructors' classes, and if they're playing the songs, you'll know the moves.
You know the moves. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Is there? I suppose with that, then you said was there three different formats you mentioned?
Yes. Yeah,
Yep.
we have three different formats now. So Pound Rock Out Workout is the original, which
Yep.
was born, I think it's almost or around about 12 years ago now.
Yep.
We've also got Generation Pound. Generation Pound's been designed for 6 to 12-year-olds.
Cool.
It's an incredible program, teaching kids that exercise can be fun and how to
Yep.
use alternative movements, but also in the Generation Pound program, they've incorporated things that kids at that age need to learn. So there's activities because we're dealing with younger children. You need to work with
Yeah.
attention span. So
Yep.
they work through kid-friendly tracks, doing alternative movements, and then move into different activities which will focus on confidence and self-esteem, understanding emotions, teamwork, things like that.
Awesome.
And the program can actually be designed or kind of set out to work with a school curriculum. So whatever the kids are needing to learn in school at that time, it can
Yep.
be incorporated in a Generation Pound class so that they're ticking those boxes as well. It's absolutely incredible.
That's spot on.
Yeah.
You've captivated my attention straight away because I've got a 7-year-old here at home. So that to me is you know what? Yeah, she's sporty and all that kind of stuff. She'd want to be being my daughter, but it's. I love the fact that the program does that and you can use it in that way as well. We might chat afterwards about that as well because there's some stuff that
Yeah.
I'd like to get at her
Yeah.
school down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's their
Oh,
second program, Generation
Yep.
Pound.
Yep.
And the newest program that they've just released is called Pound Unplugged. And Pound Unplugged is a 30-minute program that's really focused on mental well-being, but it's also created to give people the most bang for their buck. So everything that you need within a 30-minute period, it is a rock and a reset. So we have
Yep.
2 parts
Right.
rock, so high intensity, get the sweat on, get the energy out. And then the last part of the class is a reset. So we bring things down lo-fi and we actually do rhythmic breathing. So different breath practices to work with the nervous system calming down, and then guided meditation as well. So yeah.
That's
So it's
cool.
like a whole package. Within 30 minutes, you're getting the yin, the yang, the high intensity, and the mindfulness. And yeah, it leaves you feeling really like, ooh, I just refilled my cup. Like,
Brilliant. I like that, especially this day and age where everyone reckons they're time poor or poor in general.
well,
There's
this is why it
30
was
minute
it was kind of created because that's become much more evident in the last few years.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of mental health focus around for the past few years, of course. So Pound really wanted to be caring about that, but then also taking into consideration that people sometimes don't come to class because they don't feel like they have enough time and
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in life, and there's financial crises, and like everyone's attention is elsewhere. So if we can give them everything they need in just 30 minutes, maybe it's going to be achievable for them.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the response from it has just been wonderful, because I think there is a more need for that mindfulness portion of things in
Yeah.
life at the moment. And
Yeah.
looking after yourself, a little more self-care rather than
Yep.
always being go, 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 and supporting that fight and flight system in the body. They're trying to Pound are using ways to kind of bring everyone back into harmony within.
Yeah. No, that's so nice to hear. That's fantastic. For instructors, is the training a 1-day course? Is it a 2-day course? Give us a little bit of information about what instructors would experience and training.
It does depend. So all the trainings can be 1 day. If it's a live training, it'll be 1 day, 8 hours. If it's a virtual online training, it can either be split over 2 days or just 1 day of 8 hours.
Yep.
There's no prerequisite for doing any Pound training. So you can join any of the 3 programs to become an instructor. And we give you like everything that you need and the support that you need to start that journey. So to teach Pound, you need to be an official registered Pound instructor or Pound Unplugged instructor, whichever program you're teaching. And we have an online platform for instructors with all the choreography, but also a whole heap of support and upskilling. So we have an education center in our online platform. So when you do a training, it's not like you just do your training and that's it, you're on your own. It's like you've got constant support in there. We have masterclasses and workshops on sometimes on ways of teaching, and sometimes it's just on something else, like understanding your purpose or something helpful on the journey of instructor. It's a really, really supportive space.
Brilliant. So if I'm an instructor, I just wanted to get this right. Do I need to have Cert 3? Do I need to have a gel? I don't need to have. Wow. Okay. You've got me. I mean, I've got my Cert 3. I've got my, I've done all that kind of stuff. I like the fact that the program doesn't require you to actually have.
No, it's really a sincere, there is a very sincere, genuine desire to get the program out to the people who need it most.
Yep.
So the way that they offer it for people to teach is to make it available as it can be. So instructors do need to register, be a licensed instructor, so they do pay a fee to access the choreography and the license.
Yep.
But going on from there, they can teach the program anywhere they want. There's no venue fees. There's no license.
There's no license fee for a club as such, so the instructor holds a license, so to speak. The instructor's paying for access to everything.
You can take Pound wherever your imagination will allow it. And that's one of my favorite things to say in Pound is you are only limited by your imagination.
Yeah.
When it comes to the people that walk up to you, if they've got physical limitations or other disabilities, you're only going to be limited by your imagination. For me, everyone is welcome in my class. We'll find a way to make it work.
Yep.
And then as far as a venue goes as well, you're only limited by your imagination. If there's a space and you want to try a Pound class, do it.
Yeah. Now, is the music, while we're on that, my brain's going to go 100 miles an hour here. I can sense it. It's like I've had a coffee or something. Music licensing. Is it original music? Is it cover music?
It is original music.
Okay.
Yeah, it is original music because the program is so music based.
Yeah.
Like you want to feel like you are in a fitness rock concert. That is the goal, to be able to unleash your inner rock star. But it's not just about what we listen to, it's about honouring the artists as well.
Yep.
So there's a big thing about
Nice
honouring the original artists and celebrating their amazing music.
Yeah. No, I'll be honest, since I haven't taught now in 5-6 years, it's been now 6 years. But the last places that I was teaching at in Canberra before we moved back here to Wollongong, I'd only teach in places that allowed us to do original music. because I just couldn't handle doing a Pink song sung by a bloke or, a Foo Fighters sung by a chick. It was just like, no, I get the industry did it. I understand all that kind of stuff. But to me, you know what? No, guys, we need to pay our artists what it is. There's music.
Yeah, I have. I mean,
Music is the biggest part of what we
I
do.
have been asked if I can use covers before, and I'm like, oh, my playlist is there with like Linkin Park or Rage Against the Machine on it, and I'm like, I don't think this will work.
Could you imagine a Linkin Park song sung by? No, sorry, no, it just can't. It can't be
Yeah,
done.
we do have a lot of music that you probably won't find in any other fitness class, just because of that rock element.
Yep.
But yeah, it's good fun.
So as an instructor, you need to make sure you're teaching at a licensed venue, a venue that pays a license fee,
Yes,
a one music
or
license fee,
you pay your own.
fee.
And but the music is all given to you in your license, so you download it from what we call the label, which is the online platform.
Now, is that a monthly fee? Is it a quarterly fee? Is it a yearly fee? How does that?
You can do monthly, or you can save a bit and do a yearly subscription.
And how much is it per year? Oh, sorry, how much is it per month? Is what I was trying to ask then.
So $29.95 US a month, or you pay $2.99 for the year and get 2 months free.
Brilliant. And what's training costs? How much does training cost you to do? I'll put you on the spot. That's okay. We'll have it in the show notes.
I will say, because I'm teaching a training on the 19th of August, a virtual training for the regular Pound program.
Yes.
And I believe the price is at $338 right now.
Yep.
US dollars. It would be US dollars. And but there's always ways to get a little discount code, either from me
Lovely.
or Pound are often offering something to help instructors get on their way.
Yep.
This is the Group X podcast.
So how often would training be held in Australia? Like how often have you been doing or are you doing training for instructors here at the moment?
So virtual trainings are kind of running every couple of months.
Yep.
But the live trainings haven't really kicked back into gear. I don't want to say since COVID, because we did have some live trainings a couple of years ago, but I think last year, 2022, was a bit of a challenging year for a lot of people.
Yep.
And the live trainings kind of haven't made their comeback since that time.
Yep.
But they will.
As a trainer presenter, which do you prefer, online or live, face to face?
I love a live training because I love human connection. I mean, you do have human connection like we are having right now, but it's just something a little bit extra special when it's live. So yeah. I do appreciate though that like in a virtual setting, you can connect with people. So the trainings I teach are open to the whole world. So if you join a Pound training online, there's a good chance you'll be training with people from the USA, from Asia, like all in the same melting pot. And it's really kind of amazing to be able to connect in that way that it would never have happened in the past. Yep. So Pound are very supportive of teaching virtual and taking things online because of the way the world went. They wanted to make sure that the communities were supported to still get their rock on and make some noise in a time that really, really needed it as well.
So I'm going to probably ask a silly question here, but hey, that's Tony, and Tony asks silly questions. I've just gone to third person. Good one, dickhead. Anyway, if I decided to sign up for your training that's happening in August, do I get sent my own sticks?
You do. Isn't that exciting?
No, that probably sounded really silly to ask, but at the same time, there's little things like that I get excited about, and I know that there are instructors out there that do as well. If I'm going to be doing training, as an example, if I'm doing an online cycle program, you're not going to send me a bike. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go and find that myself. So my brain was thinking there, okay, are you going to send me these sticks, or do I need to go to a music shop and actually get my own drumsticks? How is it go with that?
No. So these sticks, you would be sent a pair for training, and they are specifically designed for Pound. They are made to mimic a real drumstick.
Yep.
But if you pound with a real drumstick, it will probably break
Right.
within
Yeah.
3 seconds. So pound our rip sticks. They're called rip sticks.
Yep.
I like to say they're sticks that get you ripped.
Yep. Love that.
They are made of a very, very durable plastic. Okay,
Okay.
so they're very strong and they can take a nice hard beating in a pound class.
Yep.
But
Yep.
they're also made to kind of mimic the sound of a drumstick, so they sound similar. They're just a little bit fatter and a little bit longer, so that to be designed for the workout.
For the workout. Yeah. Yeah. Can you do a class without the sticks? As an example, if the club's only got 20 sets and I've rocked up and I'm number 21, am I still going to get a good workout, or am I going to be missing the main part of the workout?
Oh, that would be really sad. I would want to give you my stick. I hope that never happens. I mean, look, I would never say no to anyone coming into my class for Pound because there are other benefits, yes.
Yes.
So the greatest benefit, of course, is getting to unleash your inner rock star.
Yep.
But I mean, these are also great instruments on the ends of our arms, our hands, which can be used to do the same movements. And you can definitely still get the workout on the physical aspect. And just being a part of the music and the people and the community you'll still get those benefits.
Still get benefits, yeah.
Yeah. So you could come to class even if you don't have your ribs.
Excellent. Thanks. I'm coming.
This is the Group X podcast.
You know what you sent me the video just before we started here, and I jumped on it, I clicked on it, I had a look. The look on people's faces when they're doing it, they forget what's going on around them. They're connecting with you, but they're also connecting with the people around them. And when I say connecting, you can see that look in the eye with someone that's doing the same thing that they are doing. And that comes through on a video, yeah? The video really showed the enthusiasm that the members or the participants actually have and doing it. And that's infectious.
Infectious is the word we use. The class is infectious. And it's, I don't know, it's so different. So that's biggest comment, I guess, afterwards. It was so different, and that's what people need, and that's what people want. They want to shake it up. They're looking, we have new programs come out, but everything's a little bit similar to something else.
Yep.
Pound is just kind of like standalone, this program that is unlike anything else, which has benefits, which probably, because of the amount of benefit for the mind, it's outweighing everything else.
Yep.
Because get people feeling good in their mind, and then they're going to be off doing all the things that you offer. And
How many releases do you guys put out a year?
So every month we release 3 new tracks. Doesn't quite work like Les Mills with quarterly releases. In Pound, it's good for participants to feel comfortable and successful. So as an instructor, we find that fine line between comfort, it being too easy, and feeling successful, and it being too hard. So finding that balance between when it comes to even changing the tracks. So you always want to have some things in there that people know, as well as bringing in something new. So every month we have 3 new tracks. But that track library for instructors never expires. So when you become a Pound instructor, you access everything that is on there. Everything.
Oh,
that
wow.
been on
So
there.
I can sign up today and I can get access to anything that you've done from inception.
All the things that are still online.
No, cool.
Because there's like music licensing things, they're offering the music. So sometimes tracks do disappear due to things like that. Or maybe just because they become outdated. But in general, you've got well over 200 songs to choose from. And
now, on that as well, here I told you my brain to go crazy with some questions once it finally kicked into gear properly.
That's good. I feel like I had some.
No, how do I access my music? Is it on an app, or is it something that I download and stick on in iTunes and it's on my device? How does that work?
So when you log in as an instructor, you've got that option to download it to your device.
Yep.
So like a computer.
Yep.
But also the songs are not, they're popular songs and they haven't been altered.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you
Okay.
use Apple Music or Spotify or something, you can just
Yep.
create your playlist in there as well.
Okay, so it's the same. Wouldn't be like as an example, most songs these days I find are around 3 to 3.5 minutes long. It wouldn't be a track done, but oh no, we've turned that into a 6 minute track.
No,
No,
no.
so it's
It'll
exactly
just
as you would
be,
find it on. Wow. See that I like as well. That I think is clever, very clever. Knowing that you've got access to those songs, but the song is what the song is. The song
yeah,
is as the artist intended it to be, not actually something that Tony's gone, well, no, actually I need to stop it here at 3 minutes and 5 seconds, add in from 1 minute 25 to 3 minutes and 5 again, and going to make a full 4.5 minute track.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, there's none of that. It's like I mentioned before, it's about making there having as little as possible obstacles
Yep.
for the program. The same when if you want to teach all the programs, like we were talking about the registration, the license fee for instructors. If you
Yep.
take on an additional program, they're not going to charge you in a whole another additional. It's like only an extra $5
Yep.
to access all that
All the
choreography.
other stuff.
So to try and make it as simple as possible with minimal obstacles so that it can get out there to people and we can
Yep.
help create a happier world
Yep.
through pounding it out.
Love it. Love it. How many instructors do you think there would be in Australia at the moment?
I'm not entirely sure in Australia, but I know globally there's over 25,000 instructors. But Australia, I'm not really sure because it constantly changes.
Changes. Yeah.
A lot of them are in contact with me, and then it's like, oh, I'm taking a break. Oh, I'm back. I'm taking a
Yep.
break. What it's been the obstacle here. Like it would be amazing to see Pound showing up in so many more places and people teaching it in schools for kids and communities, like their own community or in the gym. But I find that with the gyms, it's a bit of a like, well, there's no instructors out there. For instructors, it's a bit like, well, there's nowhere to teach it. So
Yep.
it's been a bit of a circle of that going on for a while.
Yep.
But the beauty of the program is that you can teach it anywhere. So when I came back to Australia, no one knew what Pound was, and I just went for it.
Yep.
And I hired a room and I started teaching classes. I offered free classes to begin with, but then I started to build up a community. Some of those people still do Pound with me today.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's and then the word started to get out, and we used to have very, very busy trainings prior to all the
Pandemic
worldly
and
events.
craziness. Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I do think it was just because of those people like myself who just went for it.
Yeah.
But that's like anything in life. If you want to make it work, you just got to really
You've
go
got to give it.
for it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think as I sort of mentioned there a little bit ago that I believe that it's a program, and you've opened my eyes up to it as well. And I'm not just saying that because I'm chatting to you about it. The program sounds like it needs to be everywhere, and I think potentially, as you just said, you just alluded to then the instructors, if instructors can teach it anywhere. Club doesn't need a license to do it. I'd say to instructors, if you're fallen out of love with the programs you've been teaching, look for other programs. Look for something else to go and train in. And this is a program that you can get in there and create your own following, your own whatever it may be, and be something that's totally different to every other program that we see in classes in gyms
Yeah.
these days. I think it's I'll say to instructors, guys, jump onto the training, go and have a look at it, suss it out, do your research and see exactly what it is and see if it works for you. I think from just chatting to you now for what it's been an hour and a bit, you've got me ready to go and do the training to
Yeah.
actually turn around and go, okay, let's do this, let's turn this around because
Oh, it's a good training. It's fun. It's like, and there's good, like solid information. It's fitness. I
Yeah.
have to say that I will mention the biggest misconception is that this is a dance program.
Yep.
And people steer away from it because they don't like dancing.
Yeah.
This is a program for everybody. There is no dancing. I danced all my life. This is not a dance class.
Yeah.
I can assure you. If anyone would know, it would be me.
There's no can.
No, there's no can. But there is a connection to music which exists in dancing as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so good for us, for, our well-being, to create that connection with music. In other programs, yeah, we connect with the music, but nothing like becoming the music, like you are physically making the music with those drumsticks as you exercise. It's like, there's nothing like it. It's I've been saying a joke every time in my classes lately because I just get this unstoppable energy come over me.
Yep.
It is almost like I have 10 cups of coffee. Like I'm a few cups in, and
Hello.
I've been saying, I don't know what's going on, guys. It's like I've
Yep.
had 10 cups of coffee, but it's actually just Pound
Yep.
because of all the release of all
Yeah.
those chemicals and feel-good hormones is just amplified like nothing else.
I got to suss it out. I got to find one down here in Wollongong somewhere. If anyone
Oh.
knows one, please reach out. Let me know, because I will
Yeah.
definitely go and pay a casual visit and do a class. If not, clubs in Wollongong, watch out. Tony may go and do training here soon. You never know.
Yeah.
Diane, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with me and giving us an understanding on what Pound is all about. I've honestly enjoyed the last hour and a bit of chatting to you and understanding what it all is. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me and for helping get the word out there about this rock out workout.
Love
I hope that it will help encourage some people to come and try classes just for themselves,
Yep.
or to become instructors, because it really can be life-changing if you allow it to be. I've just seen it happen too many times,
Yep.
for the good that it brings into people's life. And also, if it's not something that's accessible for you and you just want to do classes, Pound also have an online platform for participants.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Pound Backstage,
Yep.
for anyone that wants to start pounding and they don't have any classes near them, they can get online and do it.
Love it. Guys, jump onto the Group X website as well, because there is a page on there under education that will be there for Pound and have as much info as I can put on there, but we'll also lead you through to the Pound website as well. So, yeah, Diane, thank you so much.
Thank you.